In my previous two videos on Hobbs and Shaw, I said I wasn't going to pay to see that movie, nor would I ever give that abomination any further justification by watching it at all. And I have kept my word, and I still have not seen Hobbs and Shaw, and I never will. But in addition to that, I also said I will never pay or watch any future installments of the Fast and Furious franchise. And I stand by that. However, I also said that I had no interest in watching the Fast 9 trailer. I was done. I didn't even want to look at the franchise again. My level of disgust for what one of my favorite franchises has become had reached its limit. But there are those of you who would not relent. There were those of you who had tremendous passion that mirrored my own for what this franchise used to be, and there are those of you who really wanted to hear what I had to say about the new trailer. And so I watched it, and it was worse than I ever could have predicted. Now, I apologize in advance for the lack of trailer footage. My original video was claimed by Zephyr, and with it, all of my hard work. I'm still very proud of the video, and I'm happy so many people enjoyed it, and you can still enjoy it. But to ensure that doesn't happen again, I've had to substitute the actual footage with gameplay of Rocket League. I felt it fitting since we were talking about a car series here. And there will be intervals of screenshots to show you lovely people what I'm talking about. Also, let me just preface this before I start dissecting this demon excrement by saying I'm not a hater of the Fast and Furious franchise. I adore the first 4 movies. I really enjoyed Fast 5, and I was extremely tolerant of Fast 6 and 7, despite the lunacy and the loss of series identity by the 7th movie, and Universal Studios' ejaculation of this clown all over the screens of our once beloved street racing series. However, despite it all, Fast and Furious 7 gave us a fulfilling and heartfelt perfect send-off for the series and the late great Paul Walker. Up until Fast 7, the series still had a soul. And then I saw Fast and Furious 8. For free, mind you. No, I did not pay for it. I was traveling internationally at the time, and I watched it as part of the in-flight movie. And it was absolutely abysmal. It made absolutely no sense, and it honestly felt like Universal Studios was making an active attempt to try and piss me off. So I have seen Fast and Furious 1 to 8, only 7 of which are canon, as we all know. And of course, fuck Hobbs and Shaw. I'm not one of those false pedestal-walking internet douchebags who says Fast and Furious was always dumb and stupid, blah blah blah. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was partially about cars and street racing, so what? It pushed the bounds of reason, sure, even though, back in 2001, it was incredibly tame by what we've come to expect today. But just because something's of a particular niche doesn't make it dumb. Martin Scorsese movies are mostly gangster flicks. Are gangster films dumb? No. Are Martin Scorsese films terrible? No. I personally don't like the niche myself, but that's my point. Saying Fast and Furious was always dumb is bullshit, and I hate when internet commentators make this excuse for its drop in quality. And now we come to why I have such a big problem with Fast 9 and everything in the franchise that's come after Fast 7. Not only is it incredibly insulting to continue the saga without the main actor, I don't care if Paul Walker signed off on 10 Fast and Furious movies, I don't care, because I had so many insightful people rub that in my face in the last video. Did Paul also sign off on dying as well? He wanted 10 Fast and Furious movies that he could have been a part of. He did not sign off on The Rock getting his own fucking spin-off in the Samoan Islands. You got that? But in addition to that, it's pretty goddamn evident that Fast and Furious movies have made an active attempt to be as dumb as humanly possible, and these studio executives and the marketing team, and even Vin Diesel himself dresses it up like that's something to celebrate, which is insulting to the legacy of the franchise itself and all of us who grew up watching these movies. Do not lump us in with the crowd that expects and celebrates garbage. These movies used to be somewhat grounded in reality and actually had effort poured into them back in the day. But guess what? I can point to the root of all evil for the sharp decline in quality, and it all starts with the involvement of this guy and whichever Universal Studio executive is sucking his dick. But that's it for the intro. Let's move on with this trailer. Without further ado,
let the games begin.
So this abortion begins with a small montage of Don regurgitating the lines of "I live my life a quarter mile at a time." The famous line we've heard a million times before. He monologues about the past catching up to you, which, we'll get to that, don't you worry. But we see Dom and Letty have retired to the farmer's life, apparently, with their son, who Dom had with Alina, and who Dom very shamelessly named Brian. Brian of which is still alive in the Fast and Furious universe, by the way, yet he is mysteriously absent, which makes absolutely no sense. But that's not to say that the good people at Universal Studios aren't against resurrecting the dead. And it certainly wasn't the first time, but that's history. We see Dom's shamelessly labelled son has aged a couple of years. So there's been a bit of a time jump since Furious 8. While Dom is monologuing and Letty handing her son the famous Christianity cross that Dom has carried for the majority of these movies, we hear the music of what's possibly the most echoed song in the history of mankind, See You Again by Wiz Khalifa. The whole opening is Universal saying, hey, remember Paul? Come see this for Paul, and for family, and for all the other bullshit we've shamelessly spun to try and sell these movies. This is them trying everything to get you in the seats, and we've only just started. The monologue sequence ends with Dom gripping the cross tightly, and if I'm to speculate, his son's been abducted from his home since he looks like he's standing by his son's bedside. Then it jarringly cuts to Dom's crew, already assembled. Roman, Tez, Masande, and Letty. And Tez is like, okay Dom, what's next? And I'm just as surprised as the YouTube comment sections that space wasn't next, all things considered. And then we see a collection of shots that leads Dom into a room surrounded by gunmen. He says his past just caught up with him, as he stares face to face with a mysterious individual.
And his name is John Cena!
Are you fucking shitting me? John Cena. John fucking Cena is the next villain of the saga. As if I didn't need another reason to hate Vince McMahon, that wrinkle-chinned, dusty old retarded fossil. It was bad enough you were force-feeding us one of his golden boys, now you're force-feeding us both of them? Just fuck you, Universal, honestly. Let's be clear, I actually like John Cena. I think he's a pretty decent dude. I think he's an extremely hard worker, and he's given me some amazing childhood memories. That does not mean I want John Cena in Fast and fucking Furious. That would be like having Jerry Seinfeld in the fucking Expendables. The two don't mix. Now, granted, before The Rock turned Fast and Furious into a parody, he was arguably the biggest breath of fresh air in Fast 5, a cold-hearted, vicious, ass-kicking badass who put his duty above all else except his very own men. And then The Rock does what The Rock do best, and rockified the fucking series into oblivion. Now this does give me some sliver of optimism that Cena might, at the very least, be okay in this movie. Not that I'll ever know because I'll never see it, but John's a hard worker and I'm sure he'll give it his all. But can we stop with this outsider celebrity casting bullshit? Hiring Cena was a marketing move, pure and simple. Universal, can I let you in on a little secret? These films possess what are called in the movie industry, actors. So hire bloody actors, you chumps. I don't want to see wrestlers in Fast and fucking Furious, and I don't want to see UFC fighters Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey get their asses kicked by Michelle Rodriguez, an actress, because the educated individual is going to point at the screen and say, no, that's incredibly fucking bullshit. It's jarring and it ruins the experience. Hiring Jason Statham was an excellent casting choice. The twist at the end of Fast 6 was awesome. He's a big name star, an excellent action hero, and a martial artist capable of pulling off incredible stunts. If you want to hire someone for attention, get Tom fucking Cruise, not John Cena, you out-of-touch suit and tie retards. Then it shows an action montage of Cena performing incredible feats while Tyrese does what Universal makes him do every fucking time, which is break into a monologue and try to sell the bad guy for the audience. He calls him a master thief, an assassin, and a high-performance driver. So then Tyrese then asks what we're all thinking. Who is John Cena exactly? And then Letty tells us he's Dom's brother. What the actual fuck? Dom's family ran a grocery store. Dom's family were nothing more than petty criminals and street racers. The shadiest thing they did was rob some DVD players from some truckers. Not to mention Dom's father was a very religious man. I don't think Dom's brother would have grown into being a super secret assassin. Not to mention Dom never even talked about having a little brother to begin with. Not one line of dialogue or so much as a reference. Not to mention, haven't we already done the brother as an ultra-secret, super deadly assassin angle with the fucking Shaw brothers? That's Jason Statham's whole shtick in this franchise. And then we see Fast 9 rip off The Dark Knight Rises as Dom gets into a skirmish with his brother and loses in what looks to be a utility shaft with chains hanging down. And all of this while Letty watches from the safety of the sidelines. Seriously, this movie's poaching from everything at this point. Then we see Dom and Cena get into another skirmish from a different part of the film, while Charlize Theron, who plays Cypher in Fast 8, and she's still talking in that slow, breathy, monotone, boring as batshit voice that makes your skin crawl. Charlize, I know you're trying to sound menacing, but it's just not working, honey. You're just annoying. Anyway, Cypher's spouting a monologue of how John Cena's always tried to be stronger than Dom, faster than Dom, smarter than Dom. Again, it's funny how Dom never mentioned this at all. And while she's spouting these lines that were most likely filmed explicitly for the trailer, we see multiple instances where Dom and Cena give each other massive brain damage as they fight through what looks to be London, on top of a double-decker bus, climaxing with them falling from about 12 stories in the air down to the concrete roadway. And based on how this trailer progresses, the two of them survive this completely unscathed. Because men aren't made of bones in Fast and Furious, they are cybernetic organisms, or Superman's great-great-grandchildren. Anyway, Cypher asks Cena if he can kill Dom, because she's ready if he is. Okay, I'm calling it now. The climax of this movie is Cena almost killing Dom, but then realizing the importance of family, blah blah fucking blah, and he and Dom team up to fight the main villain, and we'll see him as part of the ensemble cast for the 10th Hellspawn of this series. Then we see Dom in some purple sports car outside a massive estate, and again, what I assume to be England. Dom's in the car with the mother of the Shaws. Yeah, I guess they're besties now, despite Dom maiming one of her sons, who somehow got his health back free of any lifelong injuries, and her other son thrown in jail, but Fast 8 made them all friends. Despite Shaw killing one of Dom's best friends, who's definitely dead, by the way. Unless, well, you know, Sean is just a retarded assassin, but that can't be right. Shaw's not retarded, is he? Shaw's mother is mouthing off the importance of family, as if anyone still buys that nonsense. Paul died, remember? The whole it's all about family shtick is over, Universal. Anyway, we see more Dom and Cena, and there's an ambiguous cop chase that takes place, and then Tyrese says, maybe this is the end, but we'll all go down together. Oh, Tyrese, I can only hope you're right about that. Then it cuts back to Letty, who says she'll ride to the death with Dom. Yeah, you sure you don't want to give that a rewrite, Universal? And then we see Letty and Mia. What the fuck, Mia's in this? Where the fuck is Brian? Let me guess, they killed him off screen, or he's MIA, or divorced because he beat her or something. Gotta sell that Me Too propaganda. Universal's gotta pander to everyone, don't they? Well, for whatever reason, Brian is absent. He's alive by all accounts so far. But now Jordana Brewster, the actress who plays Mia, is back. And now she's a superhero with Letty, who's essentially steamrolling through two nameless bad guys and tackles one out a window? Good lord. And then we cut back to Tez and Tyrese, who are staring at a rocket car. And we get what looks to be a beta test for a first draft at humor. Tez points out for us the glaringly obvious, and then the Asian dude says, it's impressive, right? And Tez just responds with, no, it isn't impressive. Riveting stuff. One thing I do find kind of cool is that they brought in Lucas Black, who plays Sean from Tokyo Drift, which is one of my personal favorites of the series. Just FYI. I only think they should have brought him back a lot sooner. He should have been a main character in Fast 7, but he was just a cameo, which was very disappointing. And if I had to guess, I think they're going to kill him off in this and have him be the cannon fodder for the characters to sort of rally behind and unite them against the main threat. Seeing as how he was barely featured in the trailer and how Universal hasn't given half a shit about his character ever since 2006. Then they have Tyrese fire up the rocket car and spout more one-liners. Then another mainstream musical number that Universal has to shill kicks into gear, and we see an action montage of Dom and Cena fighting on top of a semi. And some faceless chick topples it somehow using a 50 cal mounted turret, while Tyrese and Tez fight off some henchmen in the back of a truck. And then it cuts to Tez driving across a collapsing bridge with Gravity.exe failing to respond, all while Tyrese in the backseat doing his trademarked panic shouting. Then you can hear the voiceovers from Dom and Cena. Dom says, I've come to take you down, little brother. And Cena's like, that's your biggest mistake. This is my world. Before we are shown John Cena boost jumping his way off a cliff with no bridge, an impossible jump, only for Charlize Theron to Deus Ex Machina him out of the air with a fucking magnet jet plane. A magnet jet plane. Literally catching him out of thin air so the plot can progress. Yeah, can someone please put CinemaSins on Suicide Watch?
God damn, this scene just broke the f***ing sin counter.
Anyway, Dom and Letty are aiming for the same cliff. Dom nitrous oxides himself into a wooden pole, latches himself onto some sort of cord, and George of the Jungles his way off the cliff and onto safety. The Fast and the Furious has ripped off just about everything at this point. But now it's ripping off George of the fucking Jungle of all things. This is Fast and Furious in 2020, ladies and gentlemen. But regrettably, we are not done yet. There's a small trailer epilogue, and we witness a key character being raised back from the bloody dead after being hunted down and killed by Jason Statham, being mourned for years by his loved ones, having his body found and recovered and brought back to the United States by Dom himself, and having had a fucking funeral. and dying on screen, mind you, in a fiery explosion. We see Han himself is alive. He's alive. Alive and well, without any injuries, burns, or scarring. His fucking hair was the only casualty. God damn it, this is the second time a fiery car wreck was retconned for the sake of actor popularity and selling tickets. It wasn't okay then, and in the case of Han, as I just explained, it's ludicrous. Beyond ludicrous. This negates the emotional impact of Tokyo Drift and makes Jason Statham's character look like an incompetent moron, despite being a master assassin, and it makes the twist at the end of Fast 6 less impactful. It negates part of the emotional impact of Han's funeral as well in Fast 7, and it raises a galactic fuckton of what the fuck questions. I am amazed that the like-dislike ratio for this movie isn't in the fucking toilet after that reveal. This is the equivalent of the producers and executives spitting in the audience's face. Yeah, remember how you were sad about the character's sad death? Well, psych! Everything's all fine and dandy. Haha, we'll take that ticket money now. And that's another thing. In classic Universal Studios fashion, this trailer virtually spoils the entire fucking movie. All of the big stunts, all of the twists, all of the story reveals included as well. One of the reasons I haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw, besides just wanting nothing to do with it, is because the trailer spoiled virtually the entire fucking movie. You'd be a fool to spend a shred of fucking money on this. How people haven't wised up at this point honestly makes me question humanity. And this isn't coming from a Fast and Furious hater. This is coming from a passionate lover of the series who's saying enough is enough. I'm so sick of this franchise's name being dragged through the mud. I'm so sick of Paul Walker's grave being pissed on by these studio executive dogs from Universal. I'm sick of seeing the fan base scammed out of their money and guilt-tripped by the marketing into supporting the abomination this franchise has become. To sum this all up, fuck Universal, fuck Vin Diesel, fuck The Rock, fuck anyone who had anything to do on a corporate level of getting this disgraceful sequel made. And no, I ain't spending $1 on this shit, and I'm never going to see this movie. I'd sooner gouge out my eyes, even if the movie was free. Set me on fire and deliver me from the lesser evil. Because it ain't gonna happen. Fuck Fast and Furious 9. Right, that takes care of that. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope this was as cathartic for you as it was for me. Feel free to check out my other Hobbs and Shaw videos, since that's most likely what's up your alley, as well as some of my other content as well. If this video is anything to go by, I'm sure you'll be entertained at the very least. I'd like to give a shout out and thank you to all of my patrons. Your support means the world to me, and I will continue to provide the best I can. If you'd like to support the channel with a monthly donation, even if it's just $1 per month, the Patreon is in the description. I'd also like to give a shout out and thank you to my YouTube members. Thank you to the Star Killers, the Captain Prizes, and the Master Chiefs for all your contributions and support. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a great deal. If you'd like to become a channel member, hit the join button below. There's also the channel merchandise store if you'd like to show your support and pick up some new threads. I'm sure you'll find the designs to your liking, as well as a bunch of insider channel memes. Finally, if you'd like to contact me, you can tag me on Twitter, or preferably you can join the channel's Discord server. What Discord basically is an online community where followers of this channel can congregate to talk about a range of different topics, ranging from Star Wars to Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, anime, and so on. I hope you check it out, and who knows, maybe you'll make some friends along the way. Now, with all that said, here's one last thank you for staying to the end of the video. You are a legend, and I'll see you next time.